Very good. Now, so now, and all of your children are obviously homeschooled. What differences have you seen between the first of your children and the latter ones?
Um, the first one gives me very stiff competition in what I know. And the youngest one, the latest model is like 10 steps ahead of her. So, and it just makes you say, Subhanallah, the importance of understanding कि जो problem solving के जो जिसको हम fiqh कहते हैं. By the way, what is problem solving? Problem solving is the problem is what we call fasad, and the solution is what makes it
Bid'ah.
Islam,
Right, right.
right? So this is to me. So the just like diseases are getting more complex, so are the problems. So the youngest one must be 10 steps ahead. You have to say, Subhanallah, कि must be 10 steps ahead. ऐसा लगता है कि सिर्फ 5 साल के गैप में भी एक जनरेशन का फर्क है.
जी बिल्कुल
ऐसा महसूस
बिल्कुल
होता
बिल्कुल
बिल्कुल
बिल्कुल. No
बिल्कुल
doubt about it. But
है.
I said you're going to see that with the young one now.
I'm already
Yeah,
seeing it.
absolutely. Because
मतलब he's only 7 months old, लेकिन the differences are stark, और हम यही चीज़ observe भी कर रहे थे और देख रहे थे कि वाकई ये difference है.
How unjust have we been? How unjust have we been कि वक्त कहाँ से कहाँ चला गया और हम ट्रेडिशनल वेज ऑफ लिविंग को ना छोड़ सके. ऐसे ट्रेडिशनल चीजें आई एम टॉकिंग स्पेशली अब जिस तरह अब आपने बात की बिकॉज देयर इज so Asad bhai, there's like a 8 year difference, right? Is it 8,
बिल्कुल.
right?
More than 8, 9.
9 years of difference. Now subhanallah, think about it. कितने environments change हुए हैं कि वो जो 9 year के बाद वाला जो बेबी है वो अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला ने इस एज पे यानी अभी तक उसको वो environment में ही वो खुद, right? Now if you take this child tomorrow and throw them into a 12-year-old 15-year-old system,
Hmm.
this child, this baby will have a hard time getting engaged and actually being a productive citizen. In the same way, कहाँ से कहाँ मामलात निकल गए दुनिया के, और subhanallah, many times we find that our approach to solving a situation through Islam, we're not able to move with the environment and the time, what we call fiqh, usul al-fiqh. We're not able to come up with actual solutions. And we're going back and asking, I mean, imagine okay, if I took, like a few years from now, and I go and ask someone who's like 60 years old a solution to your child's engagement problem, and that person, that 60-year-old, has no idea about the environment of your young child, how will they advise? How will they advise? Right? But Al-Quran al-Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people who know.
no, right. If you do not know.
So why I'm saying this is because देखें ये सारी चीजें evident है हमारे आसपास, right? We can link the fact कि हमारे बच्चों में 5 साल 8 साल 9 साल 10 साल की के एज का जो गैप है, right? It seems like they are worlds apart, right? And subhanallah, this is so true. Kal, I mean, already it's happening for me. I mean, I have a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old. It's only 4 years,
Right.
right? Between a 15 and a 19. Subhanallah, if anything needs to happen, I know it's going to happen from the 15-year-old, because the problems that we have today, she knows what to do. Hajra Api, she knows what to do and what not to do, right? And the others
Huh.
are still kind of trying to process. कि अब इसको कैसे, and she's already done it, right? But I look at kids who are 10,
Mm.
and then my 15-year-old stands nowhere.
Yeah.
Subhanallah, right? So this is important. It's not like we get obsolete, but the environment that they're coming in, right? And the opportunities we have to give them in learning,
Mm.
right? लेकिन सबसे important चीज क्या है? And I just feel there's only one thing that our children need to have: the concept of Tawheed. And what is the concept of Tawheed that they need to have, right? ये चीजें हम हम उनकी होम स्कूलिंग की जर्नी आसान कर सकते
अच्छा, okay.
हैं. We can really like we can really make them very, very productive,
Mm.
because you see, um, every child wants to be unique,
Mm.
and that's not every child. As we get old and older and older, we want to keep that uniqueness with us. And subhanallah, look at this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has coded us that way. He's made us that way. That even in Jannah, everyone is unique.
Mm.
That uniqueness stays with you after time. The uniqueness is part of you in eternity. So when a child starts to understand that I'm supposed to be unique, but my uniqueness will get me somewhere unique,
Yeah.
right? My uniqueness will get me here. They don't start going off into hallucinations of drugs
Mm.
and
Right. Right. Right.
short-term solutions of LGBTs and other things. They
Conformity. Yeah.
know, yeah, subhanallah, and they don't argue with people. They come up with very logical, like the logic that you would find from the ulama. You know, there's a very beautiful statement from Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, where you know uh, where he was talking about the logic, and he was saying that the religion is not just logic,
Right.
because then why would you just
We
wipe the
wipe
top?
your feet.
Why the top and not the bottom? I mean, there is so much, and it gets you to think. And I also teach Arabic to university students, and some of them, mashallah, graduates in math and masters in math, and they were coming to this. They've started putting the two and two together. कि हमारी बहुत सी जो इक्वेशंस और थियोरम्स और चीजें हैं, हम कहते हैं कि सारा कुरान से आया, अरबी से आया है. They're actually starting to see from Nahu and Sarf,
Mm.
where did this formula come from? And where
Mm.
did that come from? And
Mm.
it's so amazing to
Yeah.
them, because now they're more interested in their
Enough.
Arabic to to come up with a new formula, to come up with a new code, to come up with something.
Subhanallah.
It's
That's
amazing.
amazing. Wow.
It's amazing, subhanallah.
इसमें कमिंग बैक टू द पिज्ज़ा एग्जांपल, तो इसका मतलब यही हुआ कि यू गेट द बेस राइट बच्चों के साथ, एंड देन दे गेट टू चूज द टॉपिंग्स जो कि अपनी ज़िंदगी के हिसाब से तब एक यूनिक जर्नी है, हर बच्चे की यूनिक जर्नी है, सो दे गेट टू चूज दोज टॉपिंग्स कि यार किस साइड पे जाना है. लेकिन व्हाट्स इंपॉर्टेंट इज़ टू गेट दैट बेस राइट, जो फंडामेंटल्स हैं आपके राइट एंड रॉन्ग के, तौहीद का कॉन्सेप्ट है, इस तरह की चीज़ें. तो मेरा ख्याल है उस पर फिर ज़्यादा एज अ पेरेंट, एज अ फैसिलिटेटर आप ज़्यादा फोकस करें, एंड देन लेट देम चूज़ कि वो किधर जाते हैं अपनी इस यूनिक जर्नी में.
And then
तो मुझे आपकी
and let
बात से
them go as
समझ
well. कभी कभार हम पेरेंट्स जो
या
हैं वो
एग्जैक्टली,
बहुत
बिल्कुल
ओवरली कंट्रोलिंग भी हो जाते हैं कि हम ब्लाइंडर्स लगा देते हैं कि इसी में जाने पे, और हम भी उसी से आए होते हैं तो इसी को फॉलो करना है. And it's difficult at times to let go and let the
कई
child
बहुत सारे
lead.
हमारे अपने अपने सेल्फ लिमिटिंग बिलीफ्स होते हैं जो हम इम्पोज कर देते हैं बच्चों के ऊपर. मतलब हमारे अपने एक्सपीरियंस में जिस तरह से जनरली ये होता है कि हमें पेरेंट किया गया है, हम उसी चीज़ को कोशिश करते हैं वही चीज़ आगे रेप्लिकेट भी हो, और कोशिश करके उनको लिमिट कर देते हैं. तो मेरा ख्याल है ये थोड़ा सा हमें भी थोड़ी सी ये कैपेसिटी होनी चाहिए इस चीज़ की.
Very easy to say, but very difficult
वेरी डिफिकल्ट थिंग.
to
Especially in
actually
the
do.
heat of the moment, ना जब आपको गुस्सा आ रहा होता है
एग्जैक्टली.
और वो बच्चा कह रहा होता है, like no, and that is so. मैं अलग
मेरा ख्याल है इसी वजह से ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट ये है कि अपने ऊपर काम करना। हम ज़्यादा बच्चों पे काम करने की कोशिश करते हैं, लेकिन वो कहते हैं ना कार्बन कॉपी ही होते हैं आपकी। वो एक सर्वेलेंस ही आपके ऊपर लग जाती है जब बच्चे होते। तो इसलिए बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है कि आप अपने आप को रिफॉर्म करें और अपने ऊपर काम करें, विच इज़ ऑब्वियसली अ मोर डिफिकल्ट थिंग टू डू, आई बिलीव।
Yes, and also, subhanallah, if we really think about it, यानी कि जितना भी हमने हमारी जब अपनी लर्निंग होती थी और मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने he always encouraged people to ask, to question. There are areas where he's very specific about, he's not letting you think much, but then you need to go back and look at who is he talking to. you know um, if it's someone who he knows that they have the capacity to move up, and mostly who are those people who he knows has the capacity to move up, or you will always see they are usually the younger ashab radiallahu anhum at that time, right? The younger people. Subhanallah. The most amazing thing, subhanallah, about Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu that we miss is that he was almost the age of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
right.
And despite that, yani he was, this is, I find this amazing. He was able to unlearn, yani at the age of
Ah,
40,
right,
when the
right.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ashhadu
Like
an la
that.
ilaha illallah
Yeah, yeah,
wa
yeah.
ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, he was able to let go.
Right.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
That was
subhanallah.
unheard of
Yeah,
in that society,
right, right,
right? Something so static
right,
as that
right,
society.
right.
So, and that's why इस किस्म के जो लोग होते हैं वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर्स होते हैं, वो विजनरीज होते हैं, वो वो नेचुरली उनके अंदर ये एबिलिटी होती है, बट you've got to give them space. You've got to give them space to develop, to grow. And bilkul Asad bhai, what you said, I think I need to do that because my youngest one has been pushing me to have a Hawaiian pizza, and I've not let. I've been like, no man, anchovies and Hawaiian pineapples.
No,
We're not going that way. But I think we'll probably let her have a
yeah,
small one then,
yeah,
so that
yeah, yeah.
ताकि ये
Oh,
clear हो. Yeah,
it's a Hawaiian is a game changer. It's that caramelized pineapple. It's wonderful.
alhamdulillah. So, inshallah. This is
जी,
this is.
no, we're coming back to Asad's point. I think हम होम स्कूलिंग के अंदर बहुत दफा ये कहते हैं कि हम बच्चों को किस तरह करेंगे, बच्चों को किस तरह करेंगे, लेकिन होम स्कूलिंग में सबसे पहले हम अपने आप को तो पहले सिखा दें कुछ, अपने आप को सीधा कर लें, वो हो जाएंगे. Work on yourself, work on us. That's
Yeah,
important.
and
Excellent.
that's the most important thing to work on ourselves is actually to let go.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah,
that's the thing to actually learn on to learn about, and the only way to let go is again ये वापस उसी चीज पे बात आती है कि why did you start homeschooling? Because that's what we are not able to let go.
right.
Right? So if your purpose was something, and I learned this amazing thing, this Sheikh, Allahu Akbar, Allahumma arham, Allahu Akbar. He was talking to this young guy just out of the university in Egypt, and he's telling him, so now you've graduated, so in Arabic, we say fa, pir,
Huh, yeah,
pir, pir. So he keeps saying fa, fa, fa. And so this young guy is like, get a job. That's what I'm going to do. That's what Alim is like, fa. He's like, make good money. Alim is like, fa. So, and so because see, when we don't let go, we were just thinking about getting a job. And we didn't go beyond that, you see. And that already happened and he already got the job. Now he doesn't have a fa, right? So the Sheikh says, he says, fa. And he says, well, get married to a beautiful girl, right? This young guy says, okay, Sheikh says, fa. He says, he says, have kids? Fa. And he's thinking. Um, he's thinking the big house, nice car, everything's made. Then she's like, "Fuh." Then there's like a silence for some time because now this child, he hasn't thought beyond this part of the fa, right? So he starts thinking, and then he's like, then I get old. And he says that I get old. So the sheikh says, fa. And the silences are longer, and he says, then I die. He says, fa. And so the student sits straight at that point. He just sits straight and he starts thinking. Now he starts thinking. And he says, enter Jannah. Right? And the Sheikh says, Khalidina fiha
فيها
abada.
أبدا.
I understood that at that
سبحان الله.
moment. I understood the concept of Jannah, of Khalidina fiha abada. And I understood that everything in between ye milestones हैं. कई दफा एज पेरेंट्स जो हमें प्रॉब्लम होती है वो ये होती है कि हमने उस चीज को डेस्टिनेशन बनाया होता है जो एक माइलस्टोन होता है।
जी,
जब वो अचीव हो जाता है फिर हमें ये
एकदम।
समझ नहीं आती कि अब मैं इस बच्चे के साथ करूं और क्या करूं।
हाँ, हाँ,
Right?
हाँ,
This is the part I think we really need to work on, and I think we need to be very like explicit in helping people to understand exactly what is it that they need to work on. वरना ये एक थियोरेटिकल डिबेट या कॉन्स्पिरेसी रहती है
हाँ, हाँ,
कि हमने
हाँ।
करना क्या
And the
ये आबिद भाई जो आपने बात बताई ये इतनी बहुत ज़्यादा पावरफुल टेक्निक है ये टू एक्चुअली अंडरस्टैंड कि यार आपका पर्पस क्या है। ये और मेरा ख्याल है वही जो मैंने पहले आपसे सवाल भी किया था कि पर्पस को किस तरह से रियलाइज़ किया जाए, दिस इज़ वन ऑफ दोज टेक्निक्स कि आप उस पर्पस तक पहुंच सकते हैं कि यार आप कहाँ जाते हैं। और अक्सर मैंने ये चीज़ ऑब्जर्व की और मेरे साथ खुद भी ये चीज़ हुई कि ये जो आप कह रहे थे ना, एक सर्टन पॉइंट तक हर बंदा सोचता है ठीक है नौकरी, नौकरी के बाद ठीक है घर, शादी कर ली, बच्चे हो गए। अब इसके बियॉन्ड जनरली सोच जाती नहीं है या सोचा होता नहीं है, और बाय द टाइम आप उस पॉइंट तक पहुंचते हैं फिर वो शायद मिड लाइफ क्राइसिस या ऐसी चीज़ होती है जिसके अंदर आप फिर सोचना शुरू होते हैं, अच्छा यार अब किधर, अब पैसा भी कमा लिया, बच्चे भी हो गए, घर भी बना लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया, अब मैंने किधर जाना है। और वो एक बड़ा फिर थॉटफुल किस्म का टाइम होता है। लेकिन अगर यही चीज़ आप पहले रियलाइज़ कर लें, इसी तरह का कोई ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग सेशन में बैठ के अपने साथ तखलिए में बैठ जाए बंदा, इंसान सोचे इस चीज़ पे, तो आई बिलीव कहीं ना कहीं इंसान को समझ आ जाती है, एक डायरेक्शन, एक पर्पस समझ आ जाता है कि आपने किधर ज़िंदगी में जाना है। सॉरी वसीम भाई, आप कुछ कह रहे
कह
थे।
रहा था आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि किधर जाना है, तो वो कुरान के अंदर भी यही कहते हैं ना, फ़ाइन तज़हबून,
Subhanallah.
राइट? किधर जाने, वेयर आर यू गोइंग?
Subhanallah. And this is also why कि जब आपके लिए एक पर्पस आ जाता है ना तो एक मिड लाइफ क्राइसिस और वो जो सारे उसके साथ जो इस चैलेंजेस आते हैं all of that doesn't come to you because वो खत्म हो जाता है oh no it's a Monday when you have a purpose of what you're doing subhanallah um, it doesn't matter to me like my sister was asking me day before she's like when do you sleep I said I sleep when I feel sleepy you know वरना क्या होता है ये होता है कि ओ अभी घड़ी जो है वो खाने के टाइम पे आ गई है अब फलाना हो गया फलाना no you know uh, but I never feel like I mean I've heard this many times but I've never felt like overworked I mean subhanallah and I don't even feel like what they say a workaholic उसकी वजह ये है कि if you say to me कि अच्छा जी अब कुछ भी नहीं करना अब आपने वो करना है so I just align my purpose with अब क्या करना है so I I don't sit there going like feeling guilty like यार पता नहीं I should have been हाँ अगर कोई किसी कुछ करना है कि किसी के साथ कोई अपॉइंटमेंट है कोई हाँ you take care of your tasks and that's why I said in the earlier as well it's such a beautiful time to be alive I mean subhanallah how your apps sync with your schedule with I mean subhanallah it keeps you right on top right and I want yani what am I doing I'm working for Jannah. Ahmad bin Hanbal, Rahimahullah ta'ala. Beautiful, beautiful statement. So, someone asked him, when will you feel safe and secure? So the Sheikh says, but both my feet are in Jannah. And now,
Not just one, both. Alhamdulillah.
there is,
No, no.
you know,
Yeah,
subhanallah,
yeah,
have your target
yeah.
and work. So how many things will you refuse in the journey? ये चीज आपने करनी है, नहीं यार ये पैसा तो अच्छा है पर ये मेरे पर्पस के साथ अलाइन नहीं कर रहा है,
Right,
you
right.
know.
Very important.
And then comes that beautiful dua, ربي إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever khair you have put for me, I'm a faqir. Let it roll.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Let it roll. Alhamdulillah. So very important. And as parents, I totally agree. I totally agree कि actually काम जो है वो parents पे करने वाला है, right? That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made us the shepherds. यानी काम sheep पे नहीं करते, काम shepherd पे
Mm,
करते.
mm.
The shepherd must be trained. The sheep can never be trained.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely.
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah.
So beautiful time, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the efforts that you brothers are making, all of us are making, inshallah, and make this month of Ramadan, not a month of reset, but a month of why.
Yeah.
As a parent, why am I homeschooling my child? ये I see in the local masjid, subhanallah, एक बुजुर्ग हैं, वो एक टीनेज बच्चे को मैं लिटरली कहूंगा ड्रैग करके, वो बेचारा ऐसे करके बैठा होता है उसके सामने. I'm thinking, how long will this last? I'm expecting to walk in one day and not to see either the buzurg
Either
or the,
right, right,
how many kids have we lost? How many? Subhanallah, how many have we lost? Why? We just didn't let go.
Mm.
Subhanallah, we just didn't let go.
What stops us from letting go? Is it fear? Lack of
Insecurity.
insecurity, right?
Subhanallah. And that's why, I mean, the biggest thing that hits the human being, agar uske mother of all challenges hain, to wo insecurity hai.
Mm.
It doesn't matter who you are. You could be the poorest, you could be the richest. You could be born whenever, you could be born wherever. It's the insecurity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu Akbar, the concept of ilah. La ilaha illallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfills that
Right,
void
right.
of insecurity, right? So actually, or that's the beauty of Al-Quran al-Kareem. It's not in time. So you can never say कि एक ऐसी insecurity थी, ये बात कर रहा है, वो उस insecurity की जो आज इसको पता ही नहीं है कि क्या insecurity आज. No. After everything is done with, who's your companion? Al-Quran al-Kareem. اقرأ. That's Al-Quran al-Kareem. Who's your companion? Al-Quran al-Kareem. When you're in the qabr, who's your companion? Al-Quran al-Kareem. SubhanAllah. Where you will feel the most insecure because you're like, I need to climb the ranks of Jannah. Keep reading. Insecure. Al-Quran al-Kareem take you. How insecure will you be in the grave? Subhanallah. Who do you need? No companionship there will help except Al-Quran al-Kareem. This security. So subhanallah, Ramadan is beautiful because this is the month of we would say, like, some people would say this is the month of samosa and pakoda, right? But this is the month of Al-Quran al-Kareem.
Right, right.
This is the month of Al-Quran al-Kareem. And Al-Quran al-Kareem का ये नहीं मतलब कि मैं इस दफा 10 कुरान खत्म करूंगा. No. Don't even finish one.
Yeah, understand it.
But understand what you're reading, because we are living in a time where it's getting harder to differentiate between the right and the wrong. We're living in a time, Jampe, tomorrow your child is going to be working a job which does not exist today. Maybe. Subhanallah. How insecure do you feel? Don't you need something secure?
Mm.
That's why we try to fix that. And Wasim Bhai, we try to come back and say, okay, oh, back then this worked and I'm going to use it again. This is what I was saying earlier. कि हम अपने पिछले, we don't leave. We bring our traditional ways to fix the problems of today. Halaki, the gap between the 9-year gap is too much. But we are trying to bring in a 60-year gap, a 50-year gap. And we're trying to fix the problem. We're trying to fix it. And our children are sitting there going like, when's he going to stop?
Yeah, because we're bringing a hammer to fix the Python ka code, no? तो वो नहीं चलेगा, नहीं चलेगा.
Subhanallah. Yes, I'm just scared of the Python.
वो पता नहीं आगे क्या क्या आ रहा है. We had Adnan and yeah, AI. I mean, even yesterday there was a tweet by Elon Musk कि अगले साल तक he expects general AI to be more intelligent than any single human being. And
that's amazing. That is so beautiful.
बाद क्या होगा? उसके बाद क्या होगा पता नहीं.
Yes, but subhanallah, today it's not the intelligence of the AI that we are concerned with. Subhanallah, what we are concerned with is what will you make it do? So, do you need that purpose?
Why?
Oof. How much do you need that purpose? And think about it, subhanallah. Yani, like one of my daughters was asking me the other time, she asked me like, I don't get it. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ne is shaitan ko khatam kyun nahi kar diya tha? Why didn't he just stop? When he knew that he's so bad, so why didn't he just get rid of him, right? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us about Dajjal. He warned us about Dajjal, right? He didn't say when you find the Dajjal, you go kill him. You will not see that.
No.
Subhanallah, the Muslims are so insecure today. We're living like, pata nahi, kal Dajjaliyat mein pata nahi kya ho jayega. Right? I don't know what this Dajjal is going to do. Subhanallah, for every set of problems you're going to have then,
some solutions.
Now you think why your children are coming out the way they're coming out, the new models,
right?
Why they are. Subhanallah. If these kids have purpose, one child can do what 1,000 people could not do. Because he's going to or she's going to have those resources who are more intelligent than thousands of people put together.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very scary if you look at it from Patani, Dajjal hame kacha kha jayega. But no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah. That's why we are living at this time. He wants us, those who are 40s and 40 plus, he wants us कि हम एक बहुत important हमारा रोल है वो ट्रांजिशन वाला अपने बच्चों को ट्रांजिशन करने के लिए राइट हमें जल्द से जल्द अपने आप को इक्विप करना कि मैं अपने बच्चे को ट्रांजिशन करा लूंगा right and see what I'm talking about would actually make a parent think कि should my child really be going to school
anymore
they need to think कि कल मतलब हम कितने लोगों को जानते हैं जो अभी 18 साल के बमुश्किल हुए हैं and they're working a job they're making money mashallah my children every one of them started making money from the age of 13 every one of them alhamdulillah rabbil alamin and doing meaningful stuff right and so one of the assignments that came for my second daughter for Maryam and I was telling her कि वो आपको विजन के बारे में लिखना है मिशन स्टेटमेंट के बारे में लिखना है तो मेरी कंपनी से मेरी ईमान इनकॉर्पोरेटेड के बारे में मैं आपको उसके बारे में बताता हूँ कहती है अच्छा मैं आती हूँ she never showed up I'm like what's going on and then later her mom comes and tells me she's like वो अपने क्रोशे वाली बिजनेस को खुद सेट करना चाह रही है तो वो उसकी वो सारी मिशन और उसने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बनाए वो कह रही है मैंने बाबा वाली कंपनी पे कुछ नहीं करे I was like man subhanallah why didn't she just tell me I'm trying so hard to break it down like it was good for me क्योंकि मेरी अपनी मिशन स्टेटमेंट तो डिफाइन हो गई ना उस
Hmm.
पूरे प्रोसेस में समथिंग आई हैडंट डन लेकिन अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह look at our role today role if you're not involved with your child's like what your child is learning then there's a high probability that tomorrow you will be going around going like यार कोई अगर जॉब हुई ना तो मुझे बताना प्लीज कोई अगर अपॉर्चुनिटी आई ना तो यार बता देना मैं भी तुम्हारा दोस्त ही हूँ
Hmm.
तो मुझे भी बता देना कि यार मेरे बच्चे ने बड़ा पैसा मैंने लगाया है ये किया वो किया आई लुक एट किड्स टुडे with their degrees and everything and I say subhanallah मुझे इतनी खुशी होती है मैं कभी कभी ऐसे मुझे बच्चे मिलते हैं 21 20 years of age only high school graduate अब इतना पैसा मैंने जमा कर लिया आई एम गोइंग टू डू दिस बैचलर्स फ्रॉम दिस प्लेस ऑनलाइन या दिस सर्टिफिकेट आई एम पेइंग फॉर इट माई सेल्फ
Myself. Right.
इतनी खुशी होती है
Right.
इतनी खुशी होती है एंड a lot of times we look at them and they're like oh ये बच्चा नमाज नहीं पढ़ता ये बच्चा कुरान नहीं पढ़ता oh भाई you need to create that engagement for this child how do you think the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam what did he do they said they weren't used to this engagement they said he's a sahir
Hmm. Hmm.
he's
Hmm.
going to cast a spell on you what he was
Yeah.
doing he had people on the edge wouldn't say chairs on the edge of their camels right? He had people going like, man, subhanallah, uh, how, did you just see? And people were waiting. I mean, people were people were like, subhanallah, he passed away. They were like, they're crying. Kal or ayat nazil nahi hogi.
No.
Look at how engaged they were, man. Look at
Yeah.
how they're waiting for the next,
Yeah.
for the next ayah. Subhanallah. Can you imagine the engagement that these people had? And what was it? Yeah, you will say muttaqi. To be a muttaqi is to be engaged,
Right.
is to be productive,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Alhamdulillah, you see what happens to your taqwa. Allahu Akbar. Warna, other than this, you will just sit with the tafsir and you will just keep reading it,
Hmm.
reading it, and you will not be a party to problem solving today.
Right.
We're seeing that. Subhanallah. तो हमारे बच्चों का वापस होम स्कूल करने का जो हमारा पर्पस होना चाहिए और उसमें जो हमारा रोल होना चाहिए we've basically been talking about both these things not only the purpose but also the role that we're supposed to play to actually ensure and then you can be more involved with your child's learning with things that are happening and you kind of feel like sitting there अभी तो ये होता है ना कि अगर उसने डिग्री नहीं की तो इससे शादी कौन करेगा अब अभी तक तो यही चल रहा
Huh. 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 Huh.
है right
Huh.
but subhanallah
कर
I
लेते
I feel
हो जाती
uh,
हो
you know
जाती डोंट वरी हो जाती है बहुत आराम से हो जाती
yes
है डोंट
I
वरी
told my wife look at me
कुछ कोई मसला नहीं
alhamdulillah yes alhamdulillah so mashallah I'm happy that we have you know been more explicit I feel ke we need to be more explicit very clear कि हमने root cause बुनियादी तौर पे किस चीज का करने का एक्चुअली जरूरत है why would you homeschool your child right so it's the same thing when I teach Arabic usually in the Arabiya I usually ask a question I get the same answer every time I ask them why are you learning Arabic
कुरान समझने के लिए
this is like 99% of the answer that I get so my next counter question to them is कि जब समझ आ जाएगा तो क्या करोगे
फिर क्या करें?
then they're like well ज्यादा इबादत करेंगे ज्यादा कुरान पढ़ेंगे right and subhanallah um, that's not the why we learn the Arabiya so that we can be a part of the solution in our times you have this world of creativity this world of concepts that opens up you know here is a language जिसकी एक sound में meaning है. This is not a written language.
Right.
This is a spoken
Spoken
language.
language.
So, and it's amazing. उसमें meaning क्या है? कि when you say a, in English, when you say a, so if someone asks you what's the alphabet, you'll say A,
A.
and you leave it at that, right? But when you say a, and someone asks you what's the, alif,
Alphabet.
ba, ta of this, and the word, you come up with alif, alif. Why do you come up with a? Okay, you got the a. Why do you come with the l and the f?
F.
Because all of these sounds come together, make something called a. So if you were to take alif,
Mhm.
that would be so difficult. Me talking to you, and I want to say to you, Alhamdu, and I say to you, Alif, Lam, Mim, Ha, Mim, Dal. Right? You'll be like, what were you saying again?
Right.
What were we talking about?
Right.
Right. So you say Alhamdu. But the Arab understood that in the da is the meaning of the sound dal. Right? Yeah. What's alpha? When we say alphabet, it's alif,
Lam.
ba, ta.
Fa.
Alif, ba, ta. Alphabet.
Mm.
Right? Alif, ba, ta. Alphabet. They're like, no, alpha is Greek. I'm like, okay, it could be Greek, but it could be French. But
Mm.
subhanallah, it's still alif. And alif has a meaning. So when you learn Lughat al-Arabiya, right? And how would you teach your children to learn Lughat al-Arabiya? You can't. You can't. You just can't. Right? The best thing you can do is to help them to be observant, because once you know what alif means,
Mhm.
you need to understand how it's used.
Okay.
It's how it's used as a unit. You need to understand, right? Subhanallah, it's amazing. And children, they push those buttons, which you're like, no,
Huh.
no, no, don't. They ask you those questions where you're like, man, subhanallah, one time I was having this class and I told these children that, okay, so if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you to have ownership of two things, what do you want? So um, these children were like, two things are too many. I just want, can you ask us just one thing? I was like, okay. So someone was like, Ferrari. Then someone was like, big house. One was lots of money. This one child, he told me, I want to control all the water. I want to own all the water. Man, own the water? What do you
Man.
mean? What do you mean water? Oh, कहता है, this is life.
Mm.
This is the basis of everything. I'll be the most powerful person if I control water. It's like, man, subhanallah. You know, the word for water, ma,
Ma.
subhanallah, if you understand what's in the meme and the ah, you start to, and that's how creativity comes. That's how you're able to take the concept of water and put it somewhere else,
Very interesting.
right?
Very interesting.
And learning में, that's the linkages जिसको हम क्रॉस करिकुलर कह रहे होते हैं, जिसको हम कह रहे होते हैं कि जी क्रिएटिविटी आनी चाहिए,
Mm.
थिंकिंग
Mm.
आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स
Mm.
आना चाहिए.
Mm.
But you know what schools do? They put you in a box and then they ask you to think out of the box. That's a very hard thing to do. That is
It is.
difficult, you know.
So, were you able to impart this to your children, Arabic as a language, and Alhamdulillah, yeah.
Okay, so subhanallah, something very strange with my children. Um, my so my second one, she completed reading the Nazara of Al Quran Al Kareem
Mm.
at the age of 8.
Okay.
The only problem with that one was that because she was hearing me, she was seeing me teaching Arabic and having all of this happening. So one day, her elder sister Zainab was making hifz, of Surah Al-Baqarah or Ali Imran at that time. So the second one, she used to come and sit next to her, and she was 8 at the time, and she started reading. And I just thought that she's just sitting there and just trying to be a party with her sister, कि
Right.
मैं भी कुछ पढ़ लूं. And she was at a little side पे बैठी रहती थी,
Mm.
पढ़ रही थी. One day my wife comes to me and she says कि do you know कि मरियम, आप मरियम को भी पढ़ाते हैं, वो 20 पारे उसने पढ़ लिए हैं. मैंने कहा नहीं, मैंने तो उसको अभी तक कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ाया. वो कहती है वो तो 20वें पारे में है, तो गलत गलत पढ़ रही होगी. तो मैंने कहा अभी याद आया, अभी तो वो 20वें में पहुंच गई है, तो उसने गलत पढ़ा. वो तो पढ़ चुकी है. सो शी सेज अच्छा कल ना मैं उसके साथ बैठूंगी,
Mhm.
देखूंगी वो कैसे पढ़ रही, वो क्या कर रही है, ऐसे ही बैठी हुई है, ऐसे ही उंगली फेर रही है, उसको पढ़ना ही नहीं आता. हमने मैंने भी नहीं पढ़ाया, आपने भी नहीं पढ़ाया. रिमेंबर आई सेड टू यू आई डिडंट टीच माय चिल्ड्रन एनीथिंग.
Right.
सो माय वाइफ सिट्स विद हर एंड शी इज लाइक उसने कोई गलती नहीं की, आपने इसको पढ़ना
Alhamdulillah.
सिखाया. मैंने कहा नहीं, मैंने तो नहीं पढ़ना सिखाया.
Alhamdulillah.
She spent about 3 months and she finished all Al Quran Kareem in that first go.
Right.
So I don't know what I've been able to impart. I'm not sure. Um, the I feel that if we do something consistently and we believe in what we are doing or आपका purpose होता है, it automatically creates an environment. And as that environment is created, it then you let the children
Right.
go.
Right. Right.
Now the way they think, and how do I know the way they think is the questions they ask, right? वो मतलब कि मैं बात इसकी कर रहा हूँ और वो उसी चीज को लेकर उधर चले गए, but they're very manipulative that way as well, because you have to be careful, because they might sell you something, and as a father you might be like yeah, let's do it, and then you're like hey, just a minute, आप अभी आपने तो कहा है. So it does come with its challenges as well, but alhamdulillah, um, I'm very very, I've given them their space. Abhi hamare ghar mein, alhamdulillah, um, none of them has a mobile phone, but all of them have laptops. And I've been very particular that they should have access. And many times, as a parent, you want to go check up on your children to see what they're doing, what they're
Mm.
learning. I'm amazed at what they're watching. I'm amazed at the French, Spanish, Korean, Japanese, whatever that they've learned, and
Mm.
to whatever level that they've learned.
Mm.
Um, I,
Allah.
I mean, मेरा दिमाग तो वहां जाता ही नहीं है कि मुझे भी ये
हाँ,
फॉरेन
हाँ, बहुत
लैंग्वेज
चीजें
का
निकाल, बहुत चीजें.
मुझे भी आनी चाहिए. But it's just amazing, subhanallah.
Asad, I think um, आज की टॉक के अंदर if I was to take one takeaway from that, Abid bhai has such a positive outlook on life. I mean, he's वो कहते हैं ना अंदर से उभर रही है positivity about everything.
Alhamdulillah.
और in spite of हम आजकल जिससे बात करें और जब भी देखें हो कि यार ये कैसा दौर है इसके अंदर इतनी नेगेटिविटी होती है. How how does that how, how does that come out from you? And don't you ever feel bogged down by the negativity that's surrounding us? Yeah, this is part of Allah's plan. Accept it, move on.
Yeah, the other day I was in Lahore and the Mistri Saab put, you know, taking good money, but put a very poor radiator in my car. And I called him up in the middle of, Lahore, and I said to him, "Yaar, I'm here, मेरी family के साथ तो radiator leak हो गया." तो he said, "जी हम तो इस चीज के कायल हैं कि ये अल्लाह की तरफ से है." So I said to him, कि यार, you know what? That part I'm not very
No.
satisfied with. क्योंकि आप तकदीर में नहीं यकीन रखते. मैं जी तकदीर में पूरा यकीन रखते हैं, लेकिन मिस्त्रियों को फिर आप कहाँ छोड़े इस पूरे इक्वेशन में,
Uh,
right? Subhanallah, you know, um, if there is something which is broke, then the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us go fix it. That is the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The purpose is not to read so many books of seerah. The purpose is to take something away from it that you can apply in your life, right? And you will always see this. He always fixed it, right? He fixed it some way or the other. He was a problem solver, and I've had, and my life has just been surrounded by amazing people, subhanallah. And like one of my teachers, he was asking me, and he puts me on the spot. He asks me questions that I'm not even prepared to answer. Like he asked me कि आज अगर मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम इस पूरे chaos में आ जाएं तो वो कहाँ से शुरू करेंगे? And he asks you right on the spot, and you're like,
Whoa.
I've read all these books on Sirah. I've read the Quran. I'm just trying to understand कि वो शुरू कहाँ से करेंगे? It's just mind-boggling. But subhanallah, all this negativity around us, it's an opportunity for you and I to fix. Right? I mean, imagine a world where there was only positivity, positivity, positivity around us. The suicide rate would be very high. The suicide rate would be very high. Subhanallah. Like if you look currently at South Korea, you look at Sweden, you look at these countries, you cannot say that they have a poor standard of living, right? They have I mean, उनको रोटी कपड़ा मकान जिसके चक्कर में हम भाग रहे हैं, वो तो भागेंगे.
Way ahead.
Right? So how you channel the environment around you, मतलब इंसान को अगर आप छोड़ दें ना उसके फितरत पे, तो वो जन्नत को भी नेगेटिव कर देगा. वो हर चीज में नेगेटिविटी ही ले आएगा. He or she will bring it down. So the only way forward that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us is the big picture, right? In the big picture, how you first of all get this positivity inside you is that आपको रगड़ा खुद भी खाना पड़ेगा.
Okay.
So I've had a very difficult past, and it's been a past that I'm not very proud of. It's been a very difficult past. Or alhamdulillah, I came to the understanding कि अगर अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला मेरे जैसे बंदे को एक डायरेक्शन में डाल सकता है, तो बाकी तो सारे माशाल्लाह बाकी तो सारे शेर हैं. I'm if this could happen to someone like me, so alhamdulillah, so you have no reason but to say alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Absolutely. And I think I can mirror that because, again, I've led a very colorful life. And alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has guided me back. And उसकी रहमत के ऊपर है कि मुझे माफ कर दे. But inshallah ta'ala. But yeah, you're right. That if somebody like me can at least start turning back to the right direction, then there's hope for everybody.
Yeah. But you see, for me now, I start to also understand at this age कि मेरे लिए मेरे बच्चों के हवाले से contradiction कहाँ पे आई है, right? और इसी point पे आई है कि I would like my children not to do anything wrong and not to go through all of that, but I still want them to be guided. Whereas for myself, I had to go through all of that.
To be guided, right?
Right? So one of the shuyukh, Sheikh Abu Mustafa, Allahumma hafidh, he said, you read, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. So he said, you read कि ए Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, हम तेरी इबादत करते हैं और हम तुझसे ही मांगते हैं, और क्योंकि हम तुझसे ही मांगते हैं तो अब हम आपसे क्या मांग रहे हैं या अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला? हिदायत मांग रहे हैं. Then he said you can also read إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. Said you combine. So I said to Allah, I said to Sheikh Abu Mustafa, I said, so what's the difference? Right. So he says, so here the difference is that Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you guide me,
then
I will make your ibadat and I will make dua. Right? So a lot of times, people said to me, कि जी हिदायत मांगनी पड़ती है. But the situation that I was in, मैंने तो कुछ भी नहीं मांगा, मैं तो
Right.
उस सिचुएशन में था ही नहीं कि मैं मांग भी सकता
Right.
था.
Right.
If I say to you कि फलाना पिज्जा फलानी बिरयानी बहुत टेस्टी है,
Right.
and I've never had a pizza or biryani,
Right.
I don't even know what it tastes like. I didn't know what the taste of iman or
Yeah.
hidayah is.
Yeah.
But then, subhanallah, I came across a profound statement of Umar radiallahu anhu, so positive, so positive. Allahu Akbar. This is the height of positivity for me.
Okay.
He said, to taste the sweetness of iman, you must taste the bitterness of kufr. Allahu Akbar. Now someone could have looked at the same thing and, being pessimistic would be कि यार कुफर जो है ना, काफिर जो है ना,
Mm.
उफ, like, kufr is the worst thing. Subhanallah, you can have no iman, you can have no Islam unless there is no kufr.
Right. Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, you can never appreciate having your children if I've had interaction with parents who were blessed with children after 17 years of life,
Yes.
of marriage, after 10
Yes.
years, after 15 years. One of those brothers, but it has, sorry, I'm going off on another tangent, but that also comes with its own challenges. One of the brothers, he called me, he said, आप उम्रे पे जा रहे हैं तो आपने ना मेरी 8 महीने की हाजरा के लिए बहुत दुआ करनी है. उसने बस ऐसी ऐसी उसमें आदात हैं, ऐसी चीजें उसने शुरू. आई वाज थिंकिंग 8 महीने की ये क्या कर रही है,
What?
हाजरा क्या कर रही है. सो आई वाज लाइक, उसने क्या किया. कहते हैं जी उसने चूसनी लेना शुरू कर दी. I was like, okay, I'll go to the
Right.
haram and make dua. Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Hajra chusni chhod de.
I mean,
What do you do?
right. Right.
But the
Right.
positivity comes from the negativity, right? And this is beautiful in Pakistan. Pakistan mein everything is broke.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah
Yeah.
Rabbil
Yeah.
Alameen. And it's
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
Pakistan.
Lots of
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
All the ummah,
Right.
everything is broke. It's time.
Lot of opportunity.
It's time for the mujaddid.
Right.
It's time.
Right. No.
Alhamdulillah.
Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah. So you cannot help but be positive.
Man,
Alhamdulillah.
मैं आबिद भाई के साथ हमेशा जब भी डिस्कशन हुई है वो हमेशा बहुत इंसाइटफुल होती है और मुझे बल्कि इस पे एक ताना भी हमेशा पड़ता है क्योंकि मैं आपको वसीम भाई को भी पता है आबिद भाई को भी पता है मैं चाय नहीं पीता जनरली. तो आबिद भाई के घर जाके मैंने पहली दफ़ा तब जब हमारी इस तरह की डिस्कशंस होती थी तो मैंने चाय पी आबिद भाई के साथ और डेली बेस पे मैंने पीनी शुरू कर दी. तो अब जब भी क्योंकि मेरी बेगम शुरू से मुझे कहती थी यार मेरे साथ चाय नहीं पीते तो अब वो जब भी कोई पूछता है ना कि आप चाय पियेंगे कहते हैं नहीं नहीं ये सिर्फ आबिद भाई के साथ चाय पीते हैं.
वैसे आज कोई चौथा दिन है मैंने चाय नहीं पी. I haven't had a
हाँ.
cup of tea all Ramadan. So
Yes, same here. I mean, I see no point in just using little bit milk, and now I have the, inshallah, you need to visit again, Asad Bhai. Now I have the gawa,
इंशाल्लाह
अच्छा
the
देखा. मैं भी
and
चलूंगा ऐसा तुम्हारे साथ.
इंशाल्लाह
inshallah,
जरूर
welcome,
जरूर.
welcome, inshallah
Chalo, I
ta'ala,
think it's been
inshallah.
a wonderful conversation. Thank you very, very much for
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
taking time out for
Jazakumullah for
us.
having,
And
Jazakumullah for having me.
may Allah Ta'ala
Jazakumullah
bless
khair.
you. May Allah
Ameen,
Ta'ala
inshallah
bless all of
ta'ala.
us. और
Ameen,
हमें
inshallah.
हिदायत दे और
Ameen.
हमारी ज़िंदगी के हर लम्हे में ये सवाल हम सबसे पहले पूछें why.
Yes, Allah. Allah. Become part of our framework, inshallah.
Yes, absolutely.
Inshallah ta'ala.
Absolutely.
Jazakumullah ikhwan for having me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you both,
Ah,
your channel.
आमीन.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this to flourish and bring lots and lots of value to so many
oh,
people
absolutely.
who are sitting there going like, why do this? Why you would not do this? And they come across this and they're like, okay, we need to subscribe and be a part of this, inshallah ta'ala.
And I'm sure हमारे जो भी listen कर रहे हैं, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर, thank you very much. आपके सवाल होंगे, तो please do write them in the comments so that we can then pass them on to Abid Bhai and get his viewpoints on them. So we can continue, keep this discussion going in the comment
Inshallah.
section. Thank you very
Hayakum
much.
Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa
Alaikum
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.